Puerto Rico. I came down here looking for a story.
It's called journalism.
Your resume, huh? Don't look so anxious. I wouldn't have paid for your hotel if I hadn't already hired you.
But I found the strangest paradise on earth.
Hey, you made it.
Thought you said you had a TV.
The guy across the alley has a TV. I have binoculars.
While y'all were out watching Rum Diary, I was at a bar crying into my whiskey. I wanted to see it, but I had a plumbing problem, and you know how plumbers are. I'll be there in 5 minutes.
You
And they're
eat
there.
more fiber for that.
Yeah. What?
Eat more fiber to get rid of your plumbing problem.
I think that's the problem in the first place. Got too much fiber in my pipes in the bathroom because I have a problem with that. And apparently, you know how a plumber is when they say they come in 5 minutes, that's 5 hours. So,
yeah, who knows?
So, yeah,
Those guys in cable companies have a big mob together, I think.
Yeah, so I missed it. And
You did. Another Johnny Depp film about rum.
I know, that's what I was thinking. Because we have, the Pirates of the Caribbean?
Sure.
I'm like, shit, what's next? Is he just going to come out with his own rum?
Well, it's all crossing over now because this was his second film, more or less playing Hunter Thompson, even though it's not Hunter
it's
Thompson,
a novel.
but it might as well be.
Well, in the book, the character's name is Paul Kemp, and he's a New York journalist who goes to Puerto Rico because he's tired of the hustle and bustle of big city life.
And this is exactly what happened in Hunter Thompson's life, too. So,
They changed his name, but it's pretty much him. He's doing his same, his act as Hunter S. Thompson. And at the very end, they show you a picture of Hunter S. Thompson and dedicate the film to him.
Yeah. Well, it's the second book Thompson ever wrote. It wasn't published at all, though, until just a few years back.
Because he wrote this in the 50s, right?
1961 was when he wrote this. But this is really kind of the prequel to the Hunter Thompson that everyone else is more familiar with. I mean, this is kind of the origin story.
Yeah, the origin. This is year one. Back when he was more into just alcohol and drugs ever so often. I don't know. I'm sure I'm going to touch that maybe a little bit. But when it came to alcohol, he could not drink enough.
Yeah, and he's a failed novelist. He has no idea what to do because he knows he has to write. He's got the bug, and yet he can't do it. He's like, he writes stuff. He's not happy with it. He feels he can't find his voice. So he goes to Puerto Rico, where there's a failing newspaper there that he takes a job with a resume.
Now, wait a minute. This is
lies.
not. But this is not Hunter S. Thompson.
It might as well.
But but for the sake of the review, let's not confuse people. It's a different character in the book.
Fair enough. So he goes there, and there's Richard Jenkins.
Oh, yeah, your favorite actor.
Richard Jenkins.
Yeah.
He's in this.
Yeah,
he's
like
hilarious.
Burnout, corrupt, furious, editor who's just like, oh, this job stinks, and this city stinks, and this newspaper stinks, and you stink. I mean, he hates everybody, and you would too.
It's like a hub of misfit journalists.
It totally is.
Imagine a J. Jonah Jameson who would just scream at you all day long, but if you said, you know what, man, fuck you, he might start crying.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Wow.
you nailed
Why
it.
can't every job be like that? You know how many bosses I want to yell at too? And I didn't know they start crying.
You do know this was based off a novel.
Well, usually when I do that, I get fired. Yeah, what's this great fantasy world you're talking about?
Hey, man, I've had bosses jump in my shit, and I just take a deep breath and tell them where they can go stick it. Of course, while I'm taking that deep breath, they usually leave the room. You don't hear that part.
You know what? I'll just write about that.
So what happens?
So this young journalist, he goes there and he's like, look, you don't drink, do you? He's like, on the upper end of social. That would describe the Leon.
He's looking at you like, I can see you hungover right now.
Right.
So you got those dark glasses on. Like, no, it's pink eye.
Well, he makes the mistake
Conjunctivitis.
or advantage, depending on how you look at it, of hooking up with another newspaper man in there. Do you remember that guy's name?
I know his last name was Solace.
Yeah. Do you have the information there in front of you?
Is
Corey?
the actor or
the actor?
Actors, Michael Rispoli?
It was originally going to be Nick Nolte when this film was supposed to be made. Originally, in
40 years ago?
In 2000 was when they were going to make it, and then there's a whole nother. You could make a movie about the problems with making this movie.
You know, the thing is, I've always considered Nick Nolte, despite all these problems, to be a great actor.
Yeah.
But this guy who was in this, he was perfect.
No,
What character did he play?
Solace.
Solace?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can say is like a kind of derivative of like a Dr. Gonzo in a way.
Sure, absolutely. You've got Giovanni Ribisi as another reporter whose brain is practically gone. He's Hunter Thompson if he had just never had a lick of sense about him and just said, I'm just going to keep drinking and keep taking every drug I can find until I die.
Yeah.
Eventually, though, he ends up coming across Aaron Eckhart, who is a rich businessman who, despite Kemp not really being interested, kind of takes him under his wing and says, look, you're going to come in with me and be the guy to write the pamphlets and the information on this secret business deal we got going where we're going to buy this whole area of the island and make a resort, and everything involved with it is totally illegal, so we need you to be very quiet. He don't want to have anything to do with it. Yet at every turn, this guy is there to like save his hide when he gets in trouble. Like he goes to jail with the other guy through a bunch of bullshit, and there he is to bail him out of jail. He's like, I guess I gotta do this thing. Making things even worse, the guy's fiance is Amber Heard, who is in this movie one of the sexiest women I've seen on screen all year. I mean,
Yeah,
she
you
is
can't take your eyes off
You
of her.
cannot take your eyes off her. She is pure sex, and boy, does Kemp know it, because he can't take his eyes off her either. So it's this whole swirling miasma of familiar Hunter Thompson isms and that type of dialogue as he slowly, all these like elements come to form the Thompson a la Kemp that we know today.
Yeah, like this whole sort of, like to use that word Gonzo. You know, when it comes to his world, you know, everything is just
he
crazy.
forms his definitions in this very movie. Like at one point, you see him come to terms with calling the bad guys the bastards, which was always something Thompson always used. You know,
I want to make a promise to you, the reader. And I don't know if I can fulfill it tomorrow or even the day after that. But I put the bastards of this world on notice that I do not have their best interests at heart. I will try and speak for my reader. That is my promise. And it will be a voice made of ink and rage.
I'm not going to let the bastards get away with it. And you watch it. There's a moment where he actually kind of comes up with that. You're like, aha!
Yeah, and that's cool about the movie because it's like a slow evolution of just, you know, Hunter Thompson, at least, well, this character, Paul, becoming almost Hunter S. Thompson through this movie when you really watch it.
Yeah.
But saying that, though, I will say the movie is a bit scatterbrained and it's a bit jumpy.
Yeah, no question.
To where you see, like, at some point the filmmakers are trying to make some kind of a linear story with this movie, and I'm like, well, you're taking Hunter S. Thompson's material. You can't really do that, and it really shows. I thought a lot throughout this movie. Yeah.
I think you're absolutely right. There was a real struggle between the source material and the director, who hasn't made anything since Jennifer 8 in like the 90s.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, he's only made like 4 movies, but yeah, Bruce something. I can't remember his name off the top of my
Bruce
head.
Robinson, was it?
Yeah, I think that's it.
You are correct, sir.
He wants to make a very different type of film, a film that's, you know, salable to a bigger audience. The problem is you can't really do that with Hunter Thompson. Like, a lot of people came down on Gilliam's Fear and Loathing because it's just so fucking crazy. But so was the book.
Yeah.
It's a perfect adaptation of that novel.
I was upset about that movie because, you know, that movie, the trailer said, if you watch this, you will be high too. That's what it said.
But you know what? That trailer was fucking right, because when I saw it, I honestly thought somebody spiked my drink. Me and my friend who we went and saw it. I honestly looked at her and I was like, "Do you really feel like our drinks have been spiked?" Because I mean, I'm really like, this is really weird. I'm feeling fucking weird watching this. I'm loving this, but I feel completely fucked up. Like I'm on.
Well, I guess I shouldn't have walked into that movie high already. Then it balanced everything out.
You didn't lick your ticket when you went in?
No.
It's like 3D at the time.
No, I was sucking frogs at the time.
I gave everyone LSD at the door.
It's such a conventional take on such a crazy subject. Even the scene where he discovers LSD for the first time is really kind of conventionally filmed. There's like one hallucination-y thing, and then you're like, oh, well, you're really trying hard to make this film something I'm not sure why you're going that way. You're making it too banal in some ways.
Yeah, well, I'm in that camp, however small it is, of people who didn't like Fear and Loathing.
No, a lot of people did not.
Okay, because it was all over the place, and I'm like, I don't even get a sense of what the narrative is. I don't know what I should be following. It just seems to be like, hey, let's throw as many wacky things in here as we can. Take you to Dodo Land. I'm like, all right, is it moving? Is it stopping? I don't know what's going on. I just see Johnny Depp playing this cartoon character that I see in Doom.